Right, I'm Cathy, and it's a bit like coming to a self-help group. I'm Cathy, and I work from home, and it's been 1 year, 10 months, 3 days since I was last allowed out. So let's go and have some beers. No. I'll promise I'll keep this quick, because I'm sure everyone's aware there's not much time left. So more seriously, this is about what it's been like working from home, given that I had been working from home since 2009, and yet 18 months ago everything changed. But how different has it been between me working from home as an ordinary thing in my life and the experience of other people who have suddenly found themselves working from home unexpectedly all the time? So to set the background, ISC has a culture of working from home. We have all the tools. We've been doing it for a very long time, so it's normal for me to do that. So ISC's culture has been that we've had Zoom, we have online meetings, we do interviews remotely, we have instant messaging channels for chat, one-to-one chat. We do all of the things that you would do in an office, but we do it electronically. So what has happened is that we have, during the lockdown, we have had people join us whose experience has been different from mine. They found themselves entirely working from home because they had to, and then they've joined an organisation whose culture is, hey, we all work from home. So what's different? What have we all learned from this? The meetings problem. This appears not to be entirely unique to online organisations, but it seems to have become something that's been a little bit different for organisations who suddenly find themselves with everybody at home. So let's organise more meetings because we need to talk, and the way to do it is to use these wonderful tools that we've got. So we could spend all of our time in meetings and none of our time doing work. Other issues are, so this was not a problem for me, but it would have been a problem, it would have been a thing for people who were used to working from home in their own house while everyone else went out. And now suddenly everyone else is in the house, and how do you cope with the interruptions? How do you cope with the sharing of the space? How do you cope with the childcare? How do you cope with the washing machine? How do you cope with etc.? This is an interesting one. For some people, working from home meant that they no longer had interaction with other humans at all. They didn't have anyone in their household. Some people perfectly happy with that, used to doing their interaction online and didn't mind. Other people, they were climbing up the walls. There have been not a few people who have reported actually changing careers because although they could continue to work from home, what they really wanted to do was to be with people as their career. Work-life balance is a thing as well, particularly actually in ISC because we are a global organisation and there are things going on right around the time zone. So work from home, do I just switch off, go away? Do I want to know what's going on when I've finished my working day? Do I keep in touch? All of those are an issue. But I think this has been the hardest part to get right, the balance between what is work and what is not work. If you're at home, how do you balance, or what do you do with the extra time that you've got not doing the commute? You could do more work. You could use it to spend time productively with your family, engaging in hobbies, whatever. But that's been an interesting thing. What's been learned? This is interesting. I'm not sure. Different people have learned different things, as I mentioned before. Some people have learned that really it's not what I do, it's the fact that I do it with other people. that matters to me. Other people, it has been, I really, really enjoy working from home. I don't need to live so close to my commute. I can go and live in the country. I can take up some new hobbies. I can change my work-life balance, do all of these productive things. Organisations have learned that, we don't need all of our staff in the office all of the time. We don't need to pay for this expensive office space. Our staff seem to be perfectly productive, even though we don't see them and we're not monitoring them. We have learned that you don't have to have a meeting for everything. There are other ways of communicating, and meetings and too many meetings is a bad thing, however you do it. And we've learned that the tools are out there to do those things. Do we need to travel? Don't know. Some things really do work better in person. If you're having an online meeting, have you ever tried to sing happy birthday to a team member? Who has tried this? Okay, a few hands up. It doesn't work awfully well. So there is the timing problem, as there is the interrupt problem, there is the managing who has got the speaking space issue. Some things really do work better over a bunch of beers or around a conference table. But then you've got to spend the money, you've got to spend the fuel, add to the carbon problem, etc., in order to meet up. So balance matters. I don't know what's going to happen next. Already, some people are being obliged to go back to work and they don't want to. They go back to the offices and they don't want to. They've discovered that actually they do prefer to work from home or don't want to work from home as often. There are part-time commuter type things, as in go in 2 days a week, 1 day a week. How's that going to work with train tickets and commuter prices? There are some people who are itching to get back and have changed their careers as a result. I really don't know where it's going to go, but I think there are a lot of questions that need to be asked, including the diversity problem. If you look at who are the people who typically want to work from home, they tend to be your target diversity folks. How are you going to accommodate? How are you going to balance? How are you going to be fair? How are you going to make it work? The technology's there. The next year, 2 years is probably going to be quite interesting. That's it. Beer's time, I think.
Thank you, Cathy. If there are any questions, we'll briefly take them, but I suspect this is the kind of thing that's going to turn into a long conversation over beers outside.
Can I ask a question?
Come on over.
It's Trev here. I work from home for years, actually. I love it. But my daughter works for Colt, and she's in her 20s. And Colt did a survey of all the staff, hundreds of staff in London, asking who would like to come back to work in the office versus who wanted to work at home. And it was only the 20-somethings that wanted to go back and work in the office because they thrived on the social side of it. In London, they all go out for a beer afterwards, right? But most people who are not in their 20s had families, and they commuted in from Brighton and God knows where, and none of them wanted to come back. Adds an interesting dimension to it, doesn't it?
It's going to be interesting balancing that, because you're going to end up with a two-tiered structure of the people who are in the office doing the wild things and the people who are remote, and balancing it so that everybody is fairly treated. Especially you've got the age generation gap thing going on as well. I don't know. That's going to be interesting.
I don't want to stop anyone going to the beer now, by the way.
I can't see anybody else rushing to ask questions, so thank you very much, Cathy, for a very topical talk.
Cheers.